Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You're listening to The Authority Report, and I am your host, Chet Bruce. I'm glad to have you here today. It is a fact that most professionals and small business owners are doing a poor job of communicating with their prospects. It is my true belief that a consumer needs to know far more about the people and businesses they rely on for help. This show is all about being a consumer advocate. We interview professionals and small business owners who freely give consumers the information they need to make informed decisions. Today I am so pleased to have Bill Westerlund with us. Bill is a PGA teaching professional. And he turned professional in 1970. He was enrolled in the PGA membership in 1976. He is a PGA Life member since 1997, and he was a quarter-century member starting in 2001. Bill has worked at numerous golf clubs, country clubs, and resorts in the 45 years of being a professional. He's been an assistant golf pro, a head golf pro. He's been a director of golf, teaching professional, and a director of instruction. As a matter of fact, in 1979, Bill was the PGA Club Championship. Let me rephrase that. He qualified and participated in the 1979 PGA Club Professional Championship in Callaway Gardens, Georgia. Pretty impressive. He has been director of instruction, head teaching pro at La Costa here in Carlsbad, California. In 2002, he was with the Jim McLean Golf School as director of instruction and head teaching pro at La Costa. At present, he is the head teaching professional at Mission Bay Golf Course and Practice Center in San Diego. And what we're going to be talking about today started in 2007 when he and a partner discovered and developed what Bill calls the power of core breathing for golf. Which puts the final touch on any golf instruction program. And I want to welcome you, Bill. As you know, I'm a golfer, so I don't have to tell you what a pleasure it is to have you here today.
I'm very excited to be here on your show today.
Bill, I know you're a great player. What brought you into teaching golf?
I started caddying with my brothers at our local private country club from age 12 to 16, and then started playing golf and winning golf tournaments. I was very passionate about the game and decided to make it my career, turning professional in 1970. In all my various positions, from assistant pro to head pro to director of golf, teaching was a high priority. And since 1996, I've been a full-time teaching professional, and I instruct 40 to 70 clients per week at Mission Bay Golf Course and Practice Center in San Diego, California.
All right. Is there a current method in the golf swing that teaches the basics, like stack and tilt, single plane versus two plane swing, square to square, or any other one you might pattern your method after?
Great question, Chet. All of the mentioned methods have their strengths and weaknesses. I use their strengths and add my own unique proprietary training, which then becomes the most dynamic, physical, and effective way to teach, play, and analyze this great game of golf. First, stack and tilt. In my opinion, you will become more accurate in your scoring shots, meaning full swings with your short irons and wedges, with your swing force reduced because of less hip action, and with weight more on your front foot. By learning my core breathing internal force techniques can amplify stack and tilt swing force, but distance with longer clubs will always be limited. Single plane versus two plane swing. Single plane is the most effective swing form as it is the most direct. To create the optimal swing plane swing, your spine from your tailbone through your skull has to be flat, straight, meaning no kink, bend, or angle in your mid-spine through your skull. My approach, called core breathing for golf, employs the only effective way to shape your spine flat, and it starts with positioning your pelvis, not tilted forward, but tilted to your right side and then tilted forward. Swing coaches and players know what they want to create mentally. And what I have developed is core breathing internal techniques that give you the ability to flatten your spine in a certain precise way. Herein lies the difference between flat versus arched. Next, square to square method. This came into use in the late 1960s and early 70s. It was found the movement was very unnatural and difficult to master. A few of the key areas were a cockless wrist motion and less turning, resulting in less risk of injury. The club face stays square to the target longer. Next is my method, which is called core breathing for golf, and is patterned after the greatest ball striker ever, Ben Hogan. While all the mentioned methods have their advantages, the disadvantage to all is not knowing the internal side of energy and strength, which produces optimum physical power.
Now, I've been told there are several basics that must be learned in the golf swing: grip, stance, alignment, ball position, and posture. What's missing?
Unfortunately, that is the basic outline that most teachers follow. That was the process I was taught for years. Then I was fortunate enough to meet Scott Bartley, who was my business partner and introduced me to core breathing. I then applied those principles to my swing. The basics to learn for all shots first is proper breath intake and how to physically create your ground force, followed by posture, then grip, your ball position, building your stance width, and checking your alignment.
What is just the most effective way to teach golf to a beginner, an average player, or a professional?
I start by telling the client not only does breath support your life, but it enhances your physical ability. My program, which is called Core Breathing for Golf, then supports your golf game. I initially have 3 physical tests to determine whether you are toned, tight, or weak. This is done while in your posture setup. These tests become the building blocks for optimum directional control of your golf ball. Golf has always been taught in a mental what approach. This takes that mindset one step further, in that you learn how to make the transition from mental to physical.
I understand that you are a big fan of Ben Hogan. What is there about Ben, or other than his winning play, of course, that makes him special to you?
Mr. Hogan published 2 books. The most revered was The 5 Lessons, Modern Fundamentals of the Game in 1957. On page 19, he has 2 illustrations. One is a drawing that depicts a large core generator that shows how Mr. Hogan formed his energy, starting with the generator in his core area and its size. This explains Mr. Hogan's understanding of how to develop energy and strength in his core area as the overwhelming driving force for his swing. This is the founding principle of my core energy breath approach. No one to my knowledge has ever written about this concept. I published an article in April 2013 in Southland Golf Magazine addressing Mr. Hogan's core generator method.
You're making it sound like traditional golf instruction isn't enough for a player, especially a player that wants to improve their game. What's missing there?
In a traditional teaching approach, your basic fundamentals are framed externally, meaning no internal energy cluing. In my approach, you will learn how to energize your core first with breath, then how to create appropriate ground force, and when and how to exhale your breath dynamically.
Okay, I understand you are literally the only one who teaches how to physically use your core with breath activation in the golf swing. How did you discover this method, and what did it do for your golf game after you mastered it?
As I mentioned earlier, I have a business partner named Scott Bartley, who I met at Mission Bay Golf Course in late 2007. He became a client wanting to learn how to play golf. During our interaction, he mentioned core breathing as a way to enhance your golf swing experience. I said, please explain. I immediately saw the value and set up several core breathing sessions with Scott to start learning this concept. Scott's background: he has over 40 years of Qigong, which is the breathing behind the martial arts, and is currently a 3rd-degree black belt in Hapkido. We then discussed putting together a program of golf instruction, and Core Breathing for Golf was born. The number one attribute of this program is being able to practice less and yet achieve a higher level of optimum directional and distance control.
Just what is the function of your core as it relates to golf instruction and playing the game?
Until the client understands where their center of energy, force, power is located in their core and how to activate their core generator area through core developed breathing technique, their shoulders will always be up, stressed, tense, and tight, with their core to feet being weak.
All right. How should you use your core for golf?
With your golf ball always being at ground level, you want your feet, knees, and hips to create your swing from the ground up. If your core is weak, your feet cannot get grounded, meaning all your force is with your tight shoulders. So learning how to make your core the most physical with breath activation is critical. Learning to energize, direct, and discharge your breath effectively is key for utilizing your core optimally.
You say you breathe for life, and that makes sense. But is it really possible to relearn how to breathe for health and sport?
With 100% mindfulness and concentrated focus on core developed breathing, you can, in time, transition from diaphragmatic to a lower core belly breather, and then learn to apply this approach to your sport.
Well, what is the power, the true power of core breathing for golf?
In a nutshell, your energy breath produces strength, and strength then produces force, and force produces power. It is my program's trademarked and proprietary approach that is filed with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. This, in time, will become the most dynamic and effective way to teach, play, and analyze golfers.
Okay, what is the main reason most people don't understand how their body functions from an energy breath point of view?
Our mainstream doctors don't get breath, breathing in medical school, except on a very limited basis. So most doctors don't know how to transition from breathing for life and then relearning to breathe for health. How are we supposed to know? Doctors don't physically test your core or shoulders area to see how healthy your breathing habit is or isn't. Doctors know where all your organs are, but they aren't trained on how to blend your body's energy, which is your breathing pattern habit.
Well, why is a swing coach, a physical trainer, a sports psychologist limited in their approach to golf?
All swing coaches train externally, meaning he or she don't have the tools to teach you to engage your engine, which is your core, and then selective muscles effectively. Your physical trainer, does he or she tell you how to breathe through all the different exercises, machines, etc.? That is a large part of becoming more physical. How and where to inhale, how to direct your energy down to both feet, and how and when to exhale. Your sports psychologist, he or she gives you 100% mental cluing. Some will apply meditative type breathing techniques, but they don't give you any physical active breathing patterns to shape your energy in a positive way.
Now, I, like most players, use some sort of training aid. Like the club that has a hinge built into the shaft, or the shaft with a string and ball attached instead of a club head. Once core breathing for golf is mastered and becomes an ingrained part of your golf swing, how effective are all of golf's teaching aids?
All teaching aids, without my core breathing approach, are limited in their value, because once you put down the teaching aid and pick up your golf club, you're in the same non-functioning mindset based on your core being weak.
You told us earlier that we are taught to be aware of the mental. As a matter of fact, it is said that golf is a mental game. How do you transition from your mental thoughts to an appropriate physical action for golf?
By applying conscious core-developed breathing, one can use that core strength sensation to change from mental judgments to a physical sensation for the next swing. There has to be a learned transition procedure going from mental to physical sensations, and the core generator sensation is the starting point to make the appropriate transition for one's swing.
Bill, if there was one thing that you felt every golfer that's listening here today can do to make his or her game better tomorrow, what would that be?
Relearning how their body functions from an energy breath point of view and how to achieve ground force with their toes. Adults, generally speaking, are very shallow diaphragmatic breathers, meaning their core area and feet will be weak and shoulders will be tight and up. I urge every golfer to learn my energy breath approach for golf. It's going to make your golf games better. The moral of my approach is how can you achieve optimum directional and distance repeatability for all your golf swings and shots? If you don't know how your body functions internally, you just cannot reach consistent and optimized golf shots. Once mainstream golfers realize that this energy breath approach is the missing link in their golf game, it will become the biggest discovery in golf ever. Keep two things in mind. First, be skeptical of any approach in golf that doesn't emphasize softening of the shoulders. And second, don't let the fear of the unknown keep you from experiencing this approach.
Bill, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
My website is www.pgainstructor.com. And I can also be reached on my cell, which is 760-613-6368.
Bill, I want to thank you for being here today. I learned a lot, and I know our listeners did too. I want to thank all of our listeners for coming by today and spending this time with us. And as a parting gesture, I would like to share with you something that I used to ask all of my students who were taking golf lessons. I would ask them, what is the most important shot in golf? And they answered, the putt, the drive, the irons, the woods. And of course, that was all wrong. The most important shot in golf is the next one, the one that's after the next one. You have no idea what it is. So concentrate in your golf game, concentrate on the next shot. In your life, concentrate on this one moment in time. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.